Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
Now, is that a singer or is that a singer?
Yep. He has a beautiful voice. It's very distinct,
Yep.
Yeah. And the thing on this is that, they were so worried about him. Well, what went through my mind, and I wrote it down. I just said, his voice has no, why they were worried, okay? Okay, his voice has no country inflection. So it's like, if you took that but the arrangement of that song is country and saves him. But when you listen to his distinct voice with that arrangement, it's beautiful. And I just want to say quickly that I really did not know. And that's why I hated missing the last episode of this, because I did not know a lot about Ray Charles at all. And I didn't even know he sang country music, did this album. So this is wonderful.
It also it should be noted that this recording ended up at the top of the pop,
Yep.
country, and easy listening music. And one of the reasons for the latter is that, do you know who's doing the backups? The Randy Van Horn singers.
Yeah,
They're
the comedian.
Randy wrote all of the cartoon like Flintstones and all of those kind of things. And my friend Franny McCartney actually is in with the current iteration of the Randy Van Horn singers. They're still performing, not the original ones, maybe some carryovers, but their sound was very easy listening. So you put a country song written by Don Gibson, a country artist, which is an unwritten rule. If you want to get onto the country charts, you better have on your album a goodly number of Nashville people, or country people, and because it's a rather closed little area. And so he has this song from a very well known at the time country artist. He puts his voice to it and his inflections and his heart and soul. He has an easy listening background vocals. And so it covered all of the different bases. It says, oh, okay, well, I can listen to this because it's country. Well, I can listen to this because it has that nice, easygoing background vocals. I can listen to this because, it's Ray Charles and there's that kind of bluesy sound to it, R&B sound to it, and you put them all together, and it's like this perfect little mix that you would have never thought to put together, but he did.
Wow.
Well, yes, he unified so many different styles, and it was no wonder it was so successful. And of course, he drew bigger crowds than ever because of this. One thing I will say, it is his vocal isn't particularly country, but it's very respectful of country.
Yes.
He stays true to the melody. His phrasing still respects the melody, and uh, he, he tones his style down. It's really not the scream and shout Ray Charles. And of course, later in life, he did so much easy listening and jazz stuff. Of course, as you get older, you don't want to scream and shout as much. You want to croon, but
Yeah. And this recording actually landed him in later years on country music television's 100 greatest songs in country music
yeah, he,
and such, and he won the Grammy for best rhythm and blues recording for this song.
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Really? Wow.
Yes. Yeah, that was in like 63, I think it was.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. And I mean, so it, depending upon the listener, you either looked at it as, oh, Ray Charles R&B. Oh, wow, country song. Oh, what nice, easy listening for me to, while I'm sitting at home and reading a book, whatever. The listener helped define the category.
Oh, yeah.
Good
That
point.
makes sense.
And now, a term that was later used in the industry, and I'm sure both Nancy and Gail, you've heard it many times, crossover. Well, this is one of the original crossovers.
Oh,
Absolutely.
okay.
And Dolly Parton was one of those crossover artists
Mm.
where she would cross over country into pop. Um, it's the term that record companies would do to try to expand a recording artist's appeal. And
Mm.
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But
It's
when it,
it's it's how we found how all of these hyphenated genres came to be.
yes,
There was punk, and then
country
there was
pop, yeah.
I mean, it's taking again, paying homage really to the various genres and turning them on their head and saying, hey, it doesn't have to be just one or the other. It can be all of those things. It can be whatever I want to make it, however I feel this song should be sung. That's why when you have a lot of cover versions of songs, you find a completely different outlook. They take a huge rocker and turn it into, a ballad, or they take a ballad and turn it into a big rocker, or they fuse opera and metal. You know,
So David,
Yeah.
what was you mentioned that I guess it was his record company or somebody that didn't want him to do this. They were afraid. What were the fears? Did they say what the fears
Well,
were?
they had something that worked, and the industry wants to repeat what works because it's
Ah,
got more certainty. And they're afraid that, it might turn some people off.
yeah,
hmm.
and
It's marketing. That's just the nature of marketing.
a
Still,
lot of artists who subsequently were able to do that, like Linda Ronstadt, uh,
yes.
and such, have him to thank for it, because the record companies have always, and still do want to pigeonhole an artist, saying this is who you are, this is what you are. You've got to keep making records like this. You've got to sing like this. You've got to play like this because that's what has worked. But the ridiculousness in that is that times change, and so an artist will
People change
evolve.
too.
The
Right.
industry is
Yeah.
the artistry changes, and I mean, as you saw with the Beatles, they went from one iteration of their stardom and flowed through as they each evolved emotionally, musically, spiritually, just social conscience and such. The same guys who wrote, Helter Skelter weren't the ones were the same ones who wrote I Want to Hold Your Hand. But you can't say that they're in any way, shape, or form um, really in the same complete genre. And record labels don't want that. They think that if they stay in that stagnant spot
Stay
of
in the lane.
this is what the audiences want, they just do not see that the audience's desires also may change over time.
Well, there are exceptions to this. You can go a little too far afield, and there are some artists that just uh, the audience expected something. Even the Pointer Sisters, uh, they did a country song and was a big hit, and all these country people went to their concerts expecting to hear stuff like that, and that was the only country song, and everything else was, funky 40s and R&B and gospel and
Mm-hmm.
outrageous rock. So, uh,
Myopia.
yeah, there's
What did Ray Charles um consider himself as like did he consider himself just simply as an artist or who I mean do we know that what he how
you
he
got
felt?
to go to Netflix before the movie Ray disappears because
Oh,
that movie really illustrates so much of it. Doesn't say all of it. Sure, I still have a few questions, but the biggest thing, and that we're talking about here, what he did that was revolutionary, he insisted on creative control. The
Ah,
Beatles, when they finally had their own record company, insisted on creative control. That's what Brian Wilson did for the Beach Boys. He wanted creative control because it's movie companies, TV companies, uh, the whole entertainment industry. They want clones. They want, something. Uh, this Chevrolet sold. Well, we're going to do another Chevrolet just like it. Or the VW sold. We're going to do a Chevrolet like the VW. That type of mentality, instead of. But then again, some people can follow their own instincts, and it doesn't sell. Some people have a sellable instinct. There isn't any formula. I wish there was, and then we'd all be successful. But that's another story.
interesting. That was great. That was a great recording.
Okay, I'm going to do one more country song, and this is actually from that uh, uh, before Ray died. He did he did an album called Genius Loves Company.
Yeah.
They were a duet.
Nancy, to answer your question about the whole country thing,
Yeah.
in the 40s, he actually joined a white country band. And, obviously by that time he was completely blind. And when he was on stage, he wore the sunglasses. And he then ended up in a nightclub band after that. So, I mean, it's not like his entry into country music was completely out of the blue. It was one of his early, professional jobs.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting.
And he grew up in the rural South.
Right. So
he didn't grow up in a big city. So country wasn't foreign to him at all. Plus, just like with Elvis, country music and R&B have a lot in common. Especially they have gospel roots.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the scales are very similar. Obviously, the vocal timbra's completely different, but there is a lot of similarity. So crossing over, and actually, that's one of the as a songwriter, I've always liked where country and soul mixed. Even my album that I have, the CD that I did, there's a lot of Motown and soul and New Orleans elements, and I have a couple country songs on there, but they're not Nashville country. And when I went to Nashville to sell songs in the mid '90s, they loved my lyrics. What could be a better compliment than people in Nashville loving your lyrics? But my music was just not country enough for them. It was too.
Yep. I know the feeling because my CD is a combination of country, R&B, gospel, and soul. And we actually call it Southern Soul. And, the style. It's a combination of all those things, because they really, really, really complement each other to create a whole sound that is, different, but it doesn't fit in with the Nashville way.
And next week we go to Smokey Robinson. Some of his songs are almost country songs. They're in that same 5-tone pentatonic scale, kind of like folk music. But, the way he croons or the way he styles it, or the people who covered his songs, because a lot of his hits were recorded by others. Yeah, the style changes, but the song itself has a similarity. Okay, this one is a duet with Diana Krall. So I think you'll enjoy it. It is this was his second country hit. Obviously, this is a more contemporary recording of it. Come on, let's get up there. There we go.
Isn't Diana Krall jazz?
Well,
yeah.
of course, great girls jazz, of course.
Boy, you've got my head spinning now. This is crazy. Okay.
I'm showing this. My theme for today is genre busting.
Okay.
Okay, because that's
Great.
what Ray did. And this is an example of genre, but it's a country song. And you got two people who are taking it in a new way and yet still keep some of the country flavor.